Hey tribe, welcome back to the mat and welcome to our new space. I have moved only a few blocks from where I was living before, but this will be our new yoga home for a while, so welcome. In this tutorial, we are playing with Pincha Mayurasana or Forearm Stand. This is an inversion. It does require quite a bit of strength, a bit of openness in certain parts of the body. We'll get into that. Do not be scared by this pose or intimidated. We will be covering it in steps and bits and pieces, and also going over some drills and exercises that we can do to help prepare the body for Pincha Mayurasana. For this tutorial, you are going to want at least a block. So make sure you've got a block handy. If you have 2 blocks, you might want 2 blocks as well. You could use 2 blocks, but if you just have the one is fine. And you will want a strap. You will want a loop in your strap, so you can start to find that loop for you. You want the loop to be about shoulder width distance, like this, so that when you place the arms through the loop, you are keeping the elbows at shoulder width distance. So you can go ahead and grab your block, grab your strap, start to put that loop in it, and unroll your mat, and let's get started. Alrighty, so Pincha Mayurasana, Forearm Stand. Like I said, this pose does require quite a bit of strength in the arms and in the shoulders, and a lot of core strength, and also requires quite a bit of openness in certain parts of the body. Those parts are the shoulders, so the shoulders have to be quite open, as well as the hamstrings. And you'll see why in a little bit as we start to get into some exercises that you can practice to help open up the body. If you are working on forearm stand as a just a pose that you are working on or working towards, the few exercises that we'll cover will really help if you start to incorporate them just into your daily practice. At the end or the beginning of your practice, doing them every day will really help to open up the body for this pose. So the first exercise that we'll come into is shoulder flosses, and you can come into any seated position that feels comfortable for you. Just make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. You're going to take hold of your strap. I recommend holding the buckle in one hand so it's not flailing about. And you're going to take the hands and start with the hands pretty wide, so wider than your shoulder width distance. And from here, you're going to lift the arms up high and bring them all the way back and around and down. Let's match that to the breath. On your inhale, lifting the arms up towards the sky, and on your exhale, bringing them back down. Continue like this, inhaling as you lift, exhaling as you lower. So you can have the hands as wide as you need for these shoulder flosses. Over time, you might be able to bring the hands a little bit closer. Even in one sitting, after doing a few of these, you might feel comfortable bringing the hands a little bit closer. If you are working on forearm stand as one of your goal poses, this is an exercise that I highly recommend doing every day. Doing about 5 to 10 of these every day, nice and slow, taking the hands as wide as you need to take them, gradually maybe bringing them a little bit closer as the shoulders open up. Let's do 2 more like this. On your inhale, lifting up. Exhale, coming down the back. Inhale, lift back. Exhale, come down forward. One more like this, inhaling. And exhaling down. Inhale up. And exhale lower. All right, very good. Maybe take a few rolls of the shoulders here, letting all that go. Next, we'll come into Gomukhasana arms. And you might want your strap for this one. I will turn my back to face you so that you can see what is happening with the arms. For Gomukhasana, you are going to take the strap in the right hand, take the right arm high. You want the strap back behind you. And you're going to bend the right elbow, bringing the right hand to the upper back, kind of just below the neck. You can use the left hand to sort of snuggle the arm behind the head, continuing to reach the hand down. And then the left arm comes out towards the left. Turn the palm to face down, and then turn it to face the back of your space. Bring the left arm all the way behind you, and you'll reach the left hand up the back, maybe taking hold of fingertips. If that's not available, you've got the strap right there. You can take hold of your strap and hold on right here, finding openness in the shoulders. Now, if you're here in this pose and you find that the right arm is sort of pressing your head down, really try and lift the head into the arm, trying to bring the chin parallel to the earth. You'll feel a bit more opening happen in the right, like the right tricep. So here we're opening into the right tricep and then into the left shoulder. All business we need for our Pincha Mayurasana. All right, go ahead, release this here. And we'll come into the other side. So I'll turn my back to you once again so you can see and follow along. Taking the strap in the left hand this time. Go ahead and lift the left arm high, bending the left elbow, bringing the left hand sort of to the base of the neck. And then you can use the right hand to sort of snuggle the arm behind the head. And once you've got that in place, the right arm comes out towards the right, the palm turns to face down and then behind you, and then the right arm comes back behind you, the right hand travels up the back, maybe reaching for fingertips. If that's not available, go ahead and take hold of your strap. And again, notice if the chin is tucking down towards the chest, if the arm is pressing the head down, press the head up into the arm, trying to bring the chin parallel towards the earth. Here we're opening into the left tricep, the right shoulder. And again, this is another great practice if you are working on forearm stand, or just if you're working on your shoulder mobility in general. Alrighty, from here, go ahead, release the hands, bringing the hands down. You can release your strap. We'll come back to that in a minute. We're going to come into eagle wrap arms, finding more openness in the backs of the shoulders here. So take the arms out into a T. Go ahead and cross the left arm underneath the right so that the elbows cross. And then if this feels like enough, you can bring the hands onto the shoulders. If you'd like to feel a little bit more, you can lift the hands towards the sky, bring the backs of the hands to touch. If you feel a bit more open, you can wrap the forearms, bringing the palms to touch. Now, wherever you are, make sure that you are lifting the elbows so that they are up in line with the shoulders, and then pull the hands away from the face. So you should feel quite a bit of opening happening in the shoulders. And then go ahead and release. Maybe shake those out a little bit. We'll take the other side. So this time you'll go ahead and you'll cross the right arm underneath the left, crossing at the elbows. And again, either hands onto shoulders, backs of the hands touch, or you can wrap the forearms, bringing the palms to touch. Lifting elbows up in line with shoulders and pulling the hands away from the face. And then releasing this here. Take a few rolls of the shoulders. Let that go. It can be pretty intense, that pose on the shoulders, so take it nice and easy. From here, we'll continue working on opening into the triceps, so like the backs of the arms into like the armpit area. So if you think about being in Pincha Mayurasana in Forearm Stand, the shape of the arms is 90-degree angles. So you want two parallel lines with the arms, and the elbows come straight in line with the shoulders. So if you think about keeping these 90-degree angles, the elbows lift up in line with the shoulders while the palms stay flat on the earth, while you're trying to keep the elbows hugging in towards the head. So if you think about this action, you really need to be quite open along the triceps into this sort of armpit area. So we're going to come into a couple of child pose or puppy pose variations. So one option is coming into your child's pose. You're going to bring your elbows onto one or two blocks. It might be easier to bring them onto two blocks, so you have one elbow on either block, but if you only have the one block, you can make it work with one block as well. So what you're going to do is bring the elbows up onto your blocks. The palms can come to touch, so like prayer hands, and then the forehead is going to come down onto the mat just in front of your block. So the forehead comes down, the head is in between the arms, forehead on the earth, elbows up on your blocks. So you should feel quite a bit of opening happening here. If this feels like it's pretty easy or you're not really feeling enough sensation, what you can do is begin to move the knees back. You're going to keep the seat high as you lower the chest towards the earth, bringing the head towards the earth as well, coming into a puppy pose variation with the elbows up on your blocks. And then you can go ahead and lift out of this variation, and we'll come into another one also using your block. For this variation, the elbows will be on the floor, and you want the block in between the hands. Now, when you bring the block in between the hands, I want you to make sure that the block is that the heels of your hands are hugging the block. So oftentimes I'll see students do this, where the heels of the hands are kind of coming underneath the block. I want you to really be able to press full palms into the hands, so make sure that the heels of the hands are pressing into your block. So you're going to come down into your child pose shape. Bring the elbows out in front of you, and you're going to bring the forehead onto the earth and begin to lift the hands up towards the sky. As you do that, try and avoid having the elbows splay out to the sides. Try to keep them right in line with shoulders. So the forehead comes down, and you start to lift the hands straight up to the sky. You can press in towards the block, trying to hug the elbows in towards the head gently, not too forcefully. And then again, if you would like to feel more sensation here, or if this doesn't feel like it's doing quite enough for you, you can lift the hips, bring the knees back a bit so that you're coming into a puppy pose shape, so the seat is high and you're bringing the chest down onto the earth. Either the forehead can come down or the chin can come down as the block continues reaching straight up towards the sky. And then slowly begin to release this pose. Beautiful. You can take a few rolls of the shoulders. So that's quite a bit of shoulder stuff that we've done. You should feel pretty open in the shoulders right now. So we've got a couple more drills or exercises here as you build towards forearm stand. And really simple, anything plank related. So we're moving into core strengthening, some core stabilizing. The core is going to be super important as you work in towards forearm stand and really for any inversion. So practicing your plank poses and forearm plank. So from your plank, you're going to bring the right elbow down to where the right hand is, and then the left elbow comes down to where the left hand is. And this is your forearm plank right here. This is a great place to be building strength in the shoulders, in the core. The legs are active. This is a great place to build strength for your forearm stand. And what you can do here is play with coming from here, lifting the hips high, and then coming back down. You can lift hips high and come back down. And you can do these for about 5 to 10 repetitions. Great for building core strength and shoulder arm strength. Go ahead and release that. Really, any type of core work is going to be great for your forearm stand. So whether that's in plank pose or if you're doing some core work on the back or standing up, any kind of core work you want to incorporate into your daily practice is going to be really beneficial. The last part of the body I want to cover is the hamstrings. So when we come into our forearm stand, we're going to come into it from a dolphin pose, and we're going to want to walk the feet up towards the hands quite a bit. So we're trying to stack the hips above shoulders. And in order to do that, the hamstrings need to be fairly open. So one of the poses that I love for a hamstring opening is pyramid pose. So if you bring your right foot in front of your left in a shortened stance, so the feet are about 3 feet apart, you want both heels flat on the earth and you want the hips square towards the front of your mat. You're going to pull the right leg up into the hip socket, trying to square the hips. If the earth feels like it's way too far away, you can bring 2 blocks underneath your hands and bring the earth up to meet you. And you can stay here with a lifted spine, or you can try lowering the torso over the leg. You want to maintain active legs, so the kneecaps pull up towards the hip points, the quadriceps nice and active, and you will definitely be feeling this in the front hamstring. Be kind. If you feel you need to bring a bit of a bend into the right knee, please do so. Do not overstretch your hamstring. Don't go any farther than feels comfortable on your body. You do not want to tear a hamstring. And you'll stay here for a few breaths in your pyramid pose. And then from here, we'll switch sides. So you can bring the left foot up to meet the right, and then step the right foot back, finding about 2.5 to 3 feet of distance between the feet. We're pulling the left leg up into the hip socket. You can stay with a lifted spine if that feels like more than enough on your hamstring, or you can begin to lower the torso over the leg, taking the variation that works for this side. So your left hamstring might feel a little different from the right, and that is totally normal. Beautiful. From here, bring the right foot up to meet the left again, and go ahead and step the left foot way back, finding a lunge shape. Bring the left knee onto the earth. You can untuck the back toes and begin to straighten the right leg. So this is your Ardha Hanumanasana, or half splits, and this is also a great pose for opening into the hamstrings. You can again leave the chest lifted nice and long, or you can fold over the leg depending on what feels okay on your hamstring. You want to be flexing the right foot so the toes are pointing back towards your face. Go ahead, rebend the right knee. You can tuck the back toes, lift back the left foot to meet the right, and then step the right foot way back, coming into the other side. So right knee to the earth, untucking back toes, straightening left leg, pulling the left hip back in space, flexing the left foot, using the breath. Alrighty, rebend the left knee, come forward slightly, and then just bring the left leg back so that you are kneeling. Alrighty, so we have opened shoulders, done a little bit of core stuff, opened hamstrings. We are ready to move into our forearm stand work. Let's go ahead and come into a dolphin pose. So dolphin pose is going to look just like downward facing dog, but on your forearms. You want two parallel lines created by the arms. So oftentimes you'll see people bring the hands to clasp. They'll interlace the fingers and clasp the hands. That is one way to do this, but I'm going to ask you to keep two parallel lines in the arms so that your palms are flat on the earth. The fingertips play a very big role in your forearm stand, in your Pincha Mayurasana. So you really want to maximize the surface area that you've got underneath you to help you up. And you'll really be using the fingers to help you balance. The same way you use the toes to help you balance on your feet, you're going to use the fingertips to help you find some balance. So palms flat, forearms in two parallel lines. From here, you'll go ahead, tuck the toes underneath, lifting knees and hips, dolphin pose. So press down into the hands, down into the forearms as you press the chest back towards the leg. We've covered this pose before, so if you need a refresher on dolphin pose, head on over to the dolphin pose tutorial. We're just going to spend a few breaths here, getting kind of reacquainted with this shape before we transition it into our forearm stand. Alrighty, go ahead and bring the knees back onto the earth. And we're going to use our props as we come into forearm stand here, or forearm stand prep. So you do not have to come all the way up into forearm stand. I've got no prizes for you today if you do. You stay wherever is right for your body and your practice today. So we are going to place our arms through our loop. And like I mentioned at the beginning, you want the elbows to be at shoulder width distance. So if you wrap the fingers around the bottoms of the triceps just above the elbows, this is the exact distance that you want the strap to be holding your arms at. So you've got that there. And then you're going to bring the block onto the mat. You're going to create L shapes with your index fingers and thumbs, and those L shapes are going to come around the corners of your block. So it looks like this. So you're going to have the palms flat on the earth, and the block will be in the L shapes created by your fingertips, or your fingers. So once you've got all that in place, you've got the strap just above the elbows, you've got the block on the earth, you've got your palms flat on the earth surrounding the block. From here, go ahead and come back into your dolphin pose. Tuck the toes, lift knees and hips, and you're pressing the chest back. So you're pressing the earth away, press down into the hands, down into the forearms. You can stay right here. This is an incredible place to build strength for this pose if you are not ready to move any further. If you are taking this a little bit farther, your next step is to walk the feet close to the hands. You want to walk the feet as far as they'll go. So this is why you want to work on opening the hamstrings, because if the hamstrings are tight, you're not going to be able to walk the feet in. You want to walk them in as far as they'll go. Notice if you start to collapse down towards your block, press the earth away so the head stays lifted. Your gaze is going to be in the space right in between the arms. This might be more than enough for you. Totally cool to stay right here. Build strength. If you'd like to go a little further, you're going to lift one leg straight up to the sky. This leg is active. It is reaching for the sky. From here, start to come onto tippy toes of the bottom foot and then lower down. Start to get a feeling for what that's like to shift the weight forward over the elbows. Now from here, you can try a few hops. Make these small hops. You don't want to be kicking up with crazy amounts of momentum. You want these to be small just so you get the feeling of the shoulders coming over the elbows. Feel free to stop, take a break, rest whenever you need it. It's a lot on the shoulders. It's a lot on the entire body, really. So you want to make sure that you are being kind with yourself. So let's try that again. Go ahead and come back into your shape, palms flat. Remember, you want to be pressing down into the hands. Go ahead, lift the hips, find that dolphin pose shape. And then walking the feet in as far as they'll go. Don't let yourself collapse down. Press the earth away. Lift the opposite leg high. This leg is active. It is reaching high for the sky. Pull the belly up and in, come up high on tippy toes, and then lower, and then lift, and lower, and lift. And maybe you can turn that shifting of the weight into a tiny hop. Tiny hop. So you want to use the toes almost more than the knee in your hops. So it's like a shifting of the weight to lift. You can use the knee as well, but that's going to create a bit of more of a jerky hop. So play with what works for you. And when you need to, come on down, take a break, give the shoulders a rest, maybe roll them out a little bit. So this is your Pincha Mayurasana. The reason we use these props is because the tendency in this pose is for the elbows to want to splay out and the hands to want to move in. It's easier on the body, especially as we start to get tired. This happens even more. So the strap is there to make sure that the elbows, they can't go out anywhere, and the block is there to make sure that the hands don't move in. So you are keeping everything in place. I highly recommend practicing with the block and the strap for as long as you need. And even once Pincha Mayurasana becomes a part of your practice, you might find that you want to come back to the props because they really are a great reminder. I come back to them constantly because even after years of practicing this pose, the body wants to do what the body wants to do, you know? You got to keep it in check. Alrighty, so that is our Pincha Mayurasana forearm stand tutorial. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions about this pose or about any of the exercises, please drop those down in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel for more free yoga. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.